The Catholic Morning Show.
If I had to judge, I think you guys have your best shot at making a snowman all year. Largely because I think when we had the last real big snow, that was more like Thanksgiving time, so you probably had too much tryptophan to actually get out and be productive and make those snowmen. But the snow, there's a lot of it. It's beautiful. I know my children, who of course are freeloaders who don't have to work, they were very happy to have the snow. For you guys who are driving to work or having to get stuff done, be careful, drive around, as safely as possible. Blessings and prayers for all of those people out treating our roads and trying to get them all in ship shape. But I do have to admit, at least looking out our window here at the studio, it is picturesque. Although I think a lot of people would prefer that to be the state in December 20th and not necessarily February 20th. Welcome back to the show. On the second half, we're going to have our guest, Renee Roden. Of course, she is going to give her final update, her final segment that she covers for us with journalism covering religion and technology. But right now, let's turn to our first interview of the day. Melissa Overmyer is a dynamic evangelist, author, and speaker, the founder of Something Greater Ministries, author of several books. We're going to be talking about her new one, Living the Blessed Life, 7 Keys to Trusting God and Embracing Joy, out by Ascension Press. Melissa, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Thank you both for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
We appreciate it. So unhappiness and a sense of meaninglessness plagues so many of us. What is your starting point for helping someone who's trying to get a hold on this part of their life?
Well, that's a great question. In this book, this new book, Living the Blessed Life, I use both the latest scientific research on happiness as well as scripture, Catholic Church teaching, and the teaching of the saints to help us first see that the true source of happiness and meaning in life, believe it or not, both stem from just one thing, and that is love. And if you can imagine, science also backs up what faith says on this. The Harvard study of adult development, which studied 268 men for over 70 years, found what St. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13, and that's if you really want a truly happy or blessed life, and that's the same word in the Greek. Happy and blessed are the same in the Greek. You have to be filled with just one thing, and that's love. And, of course, we know the greatest of these is love. So if you want to experience happiness, then you have to start with love. And the Catholic Church and our Catholic traditions tap into such a deep well of unconditional love of God. And if you know that first in your head and in your heart, that God truly, madly, deeply loves you, then you will be able to start down this path of true happiness and meaning. If not, you're going to have a difficult time, and I don't believe you'll ever find the happiness that you're looking for in life or have a structure to build upon.
Well, in the book, you talk about creating new habits for happiness, and that you cultivate this by helping your mind dwell on what's beautiful, true, and good. The 7 keys to trusting God and embracing joy. That's this aspect of what the book is trying to help people figure out. What helped you decide that these were important habits to build into your own life?
Well, honestly, we had a horrible, tragic fire. An arsonist broke into our home and burned it to the ground. So I wrote a book right before that called From Worry to Wonder, A Catholic Guide to Finding Peace Through Scripture. And that was like my lifeline, because that was a recipe for, a scriptural recipe for literally getting out of the panic situations in my life. And by God's grace, it was hugely helpful. But then once I got through the more anxious times and we rebuilt, I really wanted another scriptural guideline and teaching on just sort of a daily habit that I could form to help my mind dwell on things that would bring me joy, so I wouldn't concentrate on the past, but that I would move forward, not just survive, but really thrive. So I prayed, and God gave me this lovely, clever mnemonic, this acronym, and about how to build a blessed life, and it's based on the word blessed. And so each one of the letters in the word blessed actually is what we go from. And do you want to know what those are?
Of course. We're waiting.
Okay. So B is for beauty. which is beauty, truth, and goodness, which, are the transcendentals that are really in everything of God's created world. And those are to draw our heart, not to stop at what we see, but to truly draw our heart up to Him. And then laughter, I needed to really build in more laughter and enjoyment and lighten up and see the beautiful, fun things in life again. So laughter became an important component in enjoyment. And then E is for encounter with God, which, of course, is probably, something that everybody knows they should do, but we really need to make that a priority, and not just, like a one-and-done thing, like go to daily mass or whatever your encounter is, but how do you sprinkle that throughout your entire day so that it will bring light and life throughout your whole day, multiple encounters with God in different varieties of prayer. And then S is for song and praise, which we are commanded to do by Paul if we want to, have a joyful life. And he says, rejoice in the Lord always, and not just when our circumstances are ideal, but all the time. So I was learning how to do that more and more. And then silence is about detachment and fasting. And it's really about a gymnasium to strengthen our soul and strengthen our spirit. And if I hadn't already learned, even in the slightest ways about that, that is really what brought me through this, time. And then E equals engagement, and that's with friends and family, and to really make that also a priority, that in order to feel like you've had an actual engagement, not just like talking to somebody on Facebook or, FaceTime or whatever, you actually have to physically see their eyes and touch them. So times of engagement are hugely important, friends, family, and others. And then D, living our distinct Catholic life out loud and unashamed. So that was what God gave me to build my life on. And then what happened, which was so funny, is I started doing scientific, research. I started looking at all the research on it. And what I found is science perfectly aligned with that it states that if you want to have a happy life, you have to have faith, family, friendships, and meaningful work or purpose in your life. And so it was amazing how the science backed up the faith element of it.
Well, so with that all integrated in the book, what will readers find in each chapter to help them personally create the new habits for happiness in their own lives?
Well, I give at the end of each one of those BLESSED chapters, and those are just jump-off words to help us remind us of sort of a bigger concept. But I give you a 7-day place to journal so that you can actually start to turn good information into transformation in your own life. And then I also give you practical tips, several practical ways and tools to help you create these 7 habits for happiness in your own life, concrete ways to incorporate these good ideas really into your daily routine. And then you can choose a few and try it. And, we have something in our brains called neuroplasticity, which is amazing, which we can create new habits, new neural pathways. And so this book is really about a journey to help you to choose the pathway to happiness and choose happiness every day, these habits for happiness.
Well, you've been studying and sharing Scripture for over 30 years. Which passages really speak to you on this topic of living the blessed life and that provide the foundation for what you do here in the book?
Well, my life verse, I think it's because I've kind of come from a school of hard knocks, is Romans 8:28, and it says, "We know that in everything God works for good with those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose." So for me, I have to look every day. I have to choose happiness, and even when things go wrong, know that in some way God is going to bring good even out of a tragedy or even out of a loss or, or a disappointment or whatever it is. But my happiness, my joy can't be based in that circumstance. It has to be based in the promise that goes further than my immediate time right now. And so what has been a beautiful journey for me is learning how to turn even the here and now to, instead of just like, throwing my hands up in the air or getting angry about it and turning, just resigning to the fact that this is how it is, but to truly consent and cooperate with God and see what he's doing in this moment, to help me to turn that situation into a work of God. And so that verse right there has carried me through so many things, to going from just resignation to consent to work with God. And when I do that, then I can see that God has my whole lifetime and actually all of eternity to turn it into good. But I know that he will. And so that gives me great joy.
Well, one of the things he's obviously turned into good is this book. So Living the Blessed Life, 7 Keys to Trusting God and Embracing Joy, out by Ascension Press. Melissa Overmyer, thank you for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight, and I really pray for everybody that's listening, and may you be blessed.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.